What's up? My name is Jonathan Antonio Martinez Machan from Tijuana, California, Mexico, and this is Tjridoo podcast. We are guest from UK, Mr. John Thorpe.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Mr. John Thorpe. It's a good pronunciation, Thorpe.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. You got it. Yeah, John Thorpe. That's it.
But
Yeah.
it is that I learned just a few months ago that th is
Oh, I see the
so
th. Yeah,
because my name is John, and in Spanish is Jonathan.
yeah.
I have heard that is Jonathan. Thun, thun. So
Right.
Mr.
Okay. So,
John Thorpe.
what do you prefer to be called, Jonathan or John?
Eh, because I'm over here, they call me Machine, or they call me
Okay.
Johnny, or they call
Right.
me Hey, hijo tu chingada madre. They call me like,
Okay, Johnny. Yeah.
or they call me Ya bájale tu pinche desmadre. So hey, shut down your fucking music. So
No,
that's
you carry on with your music.
yeah. How are you? How are you been? And how
Yeah. Yeah.
everything going?
Yeah. I'm okay. Thanks. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I'm plodding along. Really, I would say. I'm not as young as I used to be. I used to do quite a lot. I've kind of at the moment I'm taking a bit of time out really and I'm doing a few tutorials and things online, and I'm mucking about with my setup at home here, my home studio, and I'm always mucking around with sound and stuff. So it's like, yeah, taking it easy, because I have had a slight health issue, so I've kind of trying to not do too much at the same time. So, but that's not too bad. So yeah, that's okay.
Okay. But the good thing is just you're still playing. You're still on. How do you how we did we say something that we keep the el dedo en el renglón. We keep the finger on the
Finger on the button.
yeah. El dedo en el renglón. We keep like over there, not abandoning the didgeridoo. I don't know.
No, no. I mean, over the years, I think there's a lot of I've played a lot of gigs over the years, and over the time, I think when you practice and practice and practice for all this stuff, you can get a bit burnt out. And I think I've had a couple of spates where I've kind of completely thrown it in for a few months, and then I've come back, and then some time ago that happened, and then I came back, and now I'm really loving the ditch again, and I'm in an enjoyable place with it, really. I'm just enjoying playing and a bit of recording and a bit of this and a bit of that, really.
This is one of the first questions. It's that it's one of the questions that I make to every single one didgeridoo player here. It's that how was your first encounter, and then how did you start to play didgeridoo?
Right. Yeah, my first encounter was I was living at an old farmhouse not far from me, a couple of miles up the road. Big old farmhouse, very thick walls, and I've been doing a lot of studying over the years, and because it's so much in my head what I was doing, I just felt I wanted to do something musical. And one day I can remember standing in my farmhouse, upstairs in my kitchen, and I just got this sound of this didgeridoo in the back of my head. It just came into my head, and I thought, oh. And then I just thought, hey, maybe I just fancy having a go on it and doing something musical and getting completely out of the sort of head stuff I was doing, because that's what I like about on the music side. And the didgeridoo appealed to me. I thought, yeah, I can give it a go. I just fancied giving it a go after hearing it in the back of my head. I don't know where it came from that day, why it came into my head. I hadn't heard any didgeridoo that day or anything, and so I did. And I mentioned it to my partner at the time, and she bought me, one of those cheap bamboo sticks for my birthday. It was only a little bamboo stick about 4 foot long, and started on that, and within a few days, when I first got a drone going
Mm.
and got that vibration, I thought, wow, this is interesting. I like this. And I just found I'm a bit, when I get into something, I just completely dive into it, and I just loved it, and I loved that feeling I was getting from it, and so I just carried on, over the days playing it, and it was great. I loved it, and so that's really where it started. By hearing this sound in the back of my head, must have come from, I don't know where it came from. It could have even come from, I can't remember where it came from, to be honest, but that's how it started with me in this old farmhouse. Unfortunately, I had really thick walls, so no one could hear me practicing to start with, which was a good thing. And I got going on it from there, really, and I didn't really think about it. I picked up a little book by Bunga, I think it was, this really small leaflet, and it had a few sort of word phrasings. It had circular breathing. I thought, okay, I'll try that, and I sort of started from there, really. That's how it all started for me.
What year was that?
That was 1999.
Oh, in 99.
Yeah,
It was no only for very 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 very, I say, very rich people. So there was no information. How was your circular breathing learning? Because right now that you can just put circular breathing
yeah,
and it will be a lot of information. But back then,
yeah. It was from the book. I learned it from this book by Boon. I think it's Bongar, is it? If I remember right, I think I might still have the booklet somewhere. I don't know, but I learned it from that. The guy in there, he just described the circular breathing. It's always hard when you're reading a text how to do it, and I kind of had an idea of what he's talking about, and I thought, okay, give that a go. I can't remember whether the straw method was in there. I did try it and I didn't get on with it at all, that method, but it works for some people, but it didn't for me. So I just tried it, mucked about, and then just experimented, trying to work out what I was doing, and then I thought I got the gist of it then. And I suppose after that's probably about 2.5 to 3 weeks, I then got what I call a crude circular breathing. I got the thing, and then a bit of a dip, where it wasn't fully formed, but I was there. And then from there I kind of just managed to get that kind of more smoothed out circular breathing in time. But I learned it from the book, to be honest. So yeah, as you say, you can Google it. There's lots of great videos out there
uh-huh.
of doing it. So it's great. People could just go online, look at YouTube, and get different people's input, different
Yes,
teachers' input on it.
different approaches, and one dude that it's like very funny, but I thought he was joking, but no, he talked serious that circular breathing can take you 20 years to learn it. What the what? You know who say that?
No.
Do you know this dude plays jazz? I think he's a clarinet a musician.
All
Clarinet.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kenny G.
NG.
Yeah. Da-
Well.
da- 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 da. Or the other song is very famous, but it's like very sexy music. My first research about circular breathing, I find this like, how do you say in English? I saw this in a web page that Kenny G 20 years to learn, and what the fuck, this dude is crazy. You learn it from a book.
Yeah.
I think that if you send him the book, he will learn the circular breathing.
I think so.
It is more harder to learn from a book
Yeah.
than
20 years is a long time. That will put you off, won't it? It's like, think, well, maybe I won't try the circular breathing if it takes me 20 years. It's like, it's a bit long, isn't it?
and, and you did you started to make didgeridoos?
Yeah, I actually started to make them when I started playing. Well, I played for 6 months. I was on this piece of bamboo for 6 months, basically. I absolutely loved it. I found it quite easy to learn on, and I really enjoyed playing it. And then the day came, I thought, well, I'm going to have to go and buy, buy a didge. I'm going to have to buy one. At that time, I might have looked at fiberglass, but or anything really. But the wood at the time, it's all wooden sticks, I think, at that time.
Mhm.
And I went up to London, and the guy up there had about 200 sticks. That he'd gone to Australia, brought them back, and then I thought, wow, it was like I was blown away when I saw all these sticks. I was a novice, so I didn't really have a clue really what to get. I just thought, oh, this is nice, as novices, as anyone just starting off does. He was very good actually, because he tried to persuade me not to get a stick that I wanted. And I realised later on why he tried to persuade me not to get it, because it wasn't as good a stick as another one he put before me. The quality, apart from the subjective thing, what we like, it just didn't have a very good quality of sound to it. It was actually a bit of a not a very good one. But I got it just because I thought, oh, that had that same key I wanted, and I wanted to try this and that. I'd listened to this traditional playing, and I thought, well, I wanted to give that a go. Anyway, I learnt my lesson from that later. I thought, oh, okay, yeah, if I'd have got this other stick, that would have been better. But I bought one nice one. I got two, and I bought this other one, and the other one was quite nice. And so at least I had a couple of sticks. And then I started making didgeridoos at the same time, because I thought, I can't afford to buy, sticks were much cheaper back then. I mean, now they're going like crazy. The prices, yeah, they're skyrocketed nowadays. And you can understand, makers go up, got to charge more on that. But at the time they were cheaper, but it was still a lot of money for me because I didn't have a lot of money. So I just started making. I thought, right, I wasn't a woodworker. It wasn't my natural. My background is technical, electrical, sound, and all that stuff. So I thought, well, let's start making some didgeridoos, and then I can make them, and I haven't got to pay for them. I had a big barn out the back, so I just turned it into a workplace,
Yep.
and I got set up, and I just went out to the forest. A lot of fallen wood, a lot of fallen wood in the forest. That's where I started getting my sticks from, getting them bandsawn down the middle. Just went through hammer and tongs with hammer and chisel. I started that way, and then a bit later I did the drilling method as well. But that's how I started basically. And then I think if you can make lots of sticks, I think it enables you to become quite versatile, doesn't it? Because you can play lots of different sticks, and it gives you a bit of versatility, doesn't it, to work from all different kinds of sticks. So I think that's what I liked about trying it. It gave me the option to try all these different sticks. I could just make them, and it didn't cost anything apart from whatever I was sealing it with, or the tools I was using, basically. So that's what it started in 1999, about 6 months.
This is so awesome. When you are making lots of didgeridoos, you can play different. And like you say, it doesn't cost us money,
No.
but we enjoy. Like, I mean, I remember back then when I was doing chisels, also using the chisel, I could be lost in time over there, like a whole day with one piece or with
Yeah.
two pieces, and I was everyone talking to me, or every noise around, didn't know, just figuring out in our mind how this piece will sound in how it's gonna be the tune and all that stuff. It
Yeah, it's time consuming, isn't it, with a hammer and chisel? Because a lot of guys, I don't know if you do now, use the old method with I can't what they're called now, circular blades. And do you do that method? Use that method?
I'm using the Arbortech It
Oh, you're
has
using the Arbortech. That's the name of it. Yeah.
in the King Arthur's. I use King Arthur's Arbortech, and there is a sander over here in I don't know if it is in other places, but it's a sander. It's a
Right.
Mexican brand. The sandpaper is in the bottom, but also
Okay.
goes around the edge like
Oh,
this.
I see. Yeah. Yeah.
It's very helpful because if you dig too much with the Arbortech, like whoa, you just change the disc and
I can
perfect.
imagine.
And then the other one to keep going. And
Yeah.
it's how many didgeridoo did you think you made?
What
How much,
overall over the years? You mean?
how much it was your like in
Oh,
this time I made like a whole bunch of didgeridoos.
yeah. Yeah. I made. Oh, obviously I made quite a lot. Oh, I've just made loads. I can't count. I can't remember how many. I can't think of how many I've made over the years, but I was always making. I was making them all the time. So, and I was always experimenting. I was experimenting because for me, I mean, I just wanted to experiment with all the different possible sound because I imported sticks as well. I started importing sticks. I can't remember when I started importing. That was a little bit later on, but yeah, making. I just made an awful lot of sticks and was learning a lot by my mistakes as well
Mhm.
because I was learning what I liked in particular from the sound and the different shapes and the different obviously the different bore shapes I could use as well was interesting. So yeah, I can't remember how many. I'd have to think about that and work it out, but a lot.
Those would be related because you made bunch of didgeridoos. What did you do with those sticks? Do you sold them? Sell
Oh
them?
yeah, what happened when I first started? I
Mhm.
didn't think about selling. It wasn't my interest. All I was interested in was, I mean, I think for the first 2 or 3 years, the sticks I made they didn't look great because all I was interested in was the sound. That was my first, like that was the most important thing. I just wanted to get the sound how I wanted it, and so to start with, it wasn't. When I looked at my sticks, I thought, well, they don't look great on the outside. I can't, I thought, and then later on, I thought, well, I'm going to have to tidy them up a bit, make them look nicer if I'm going to put them in a shop. And later on, I did. I started selling them in a shop, my local shop in Wadebridge, and I sold quite a lot through there. Really, I some at festivals as well. Sold some at festivals in the UK, and I've sold some online over the years. Mainly, I sold a lot in the shop, and they seem to like them from people coming in. So I seem to be doing all right in that sense. So I wasn't good at I wasn't what I call a good marketing person. In fact, marketing isn't my strong point. And you need to be able, if you're selling, you need to be able to present your sticks, they're good sound, but also, it may or may not work for you because people are going to like different things. So I tried to be, some people came to me as well,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't push one because I'd have for sale, and I'd say, if you're interested, have a look. But I wouldn't sell any sticks to anybody that I didn't think was the wrong kind of stick, or I wouldn't push it on to people. So I wasn't a salesman, and I wasn't great at marketing. And you don't have to be pushy. You can do good marketing and sell your sticks that are good, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just wasn't that great at marketing. But fortunately, I had an outlet down at the shop, and I sold as people come round and visit me. Maybe for lessons, sometimes people would ask. Guy from Newquay, John, his name is. He bought one off me, and it was one of my performance sticks he bought off me, and I thought afterwards, maybe I shouldn't have sold that. I really like that, so I had to make it. Oh, I'd sort of given up making, you see. So it's like, I'm gonna have to make another one because I want that one, but I want that. It's not exactly that. I never made the exact same copies, they were always slightly different, and I always grooved the insides out because I kind of like the effect that has. So I made one very similar, and it
Mhm.
had and it was like it's a driving stick. You know, if I make a driving power stick, that was for like performing live. It works and it works well. So, but yeah,
And how much those didgeridoos do you have still right now? Do you use? And you understand, right?
um, there I don't think I think I've got I've probably got about three maybe. Um, I think I saw on a post the other day. Oh, what's his name? Mike had posted that he looked in the old cupboard and found an old stick, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. I thought, what have I got left? And I think I found one old, really old stick, quite a sort of a chunky looking thing, and I've got another two. I've got another two, maybe three, maybe four. I'd have to have a look. They're in the cupboard somewhere. But yeah, I haven't got around to selling them, but I might sell them at some stage to get rid of them. You know, one day. I don't know.
You are like a engineer or something. What is your profession?
Yeah. Well, my original background is in electrical, so um, that's my background in electrical. I've done also a bit of electronics. I
Hmm.
do, and and really that's only relates to audio.
Uh-huh.
And then I did a sound engineering course. So I've got sound. You know, my background is also sound engineering. So I merged all those together, and I really specialised in the audio field, which is why I ended up doing enormous amounts of sound listening tests to audio equipment.
Did you apply that knowledge to the didgeridoo making, or it was
Yeah, yeah,
later?
yeah. That really came in helpful because all my knowledge I'd got gained from the audio and from the course as well. It 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 helped me in the sense it helped me to kind of pick out and describe what was going on with
Uh-huh.
what I was doing with the didgeridoos because I must have spent in the audio field of listening to sounds, you know, to this audio thing I was into. I spent a few thousand hours doing listening tests. It was an awful lot. I spent over about 5 years. And whilst I was doing that, I included my didge making into it. I thought, well, I may as well apply all my listening to the didge because it's instinctive for me to want to try and get the best sound. I mean, I say best in the sense that best what I found best. So both objectively and subjectively, if that makes sense. Objectively in certain reference I would apply to a quality of sound, and then subjectively into think, right, that's how I like it. If I've sort of if that makes sense to you. Because both of them were important to me because I needed to be from the audio side. It helped to teach me how to listen objectively.
Hmm.
And although you can't dismiss yourself a subjective listener and think, in some sense, you have to be able to do those tests, listening tests objectively, because otherwise you can't kind of you can't do recordings. You know, you've got to be able to understand frequencies, and you've got to be able to understand what you're hearing and all the different ways we describe listening: bright, dark, you know, crisp, you know. Oh, there's so many different descriptions we can use. And I applied it to didge making. Really, I thought, what's going on there? What's going on? And you know, I was always trying to work it out as I was making, and taking notes of the shape. Um, so yeah, bit obsessive really.
It's like very well for me. It's like making like an experiment, measuring and having the data on Digimol that it has low impedance, high impedance, and all that stuff. Even
Yeah,
that I don't have a clue. Not so much. I always study by my own, but I don't have like something of a diploma or something like that. And yeah, it's very interesting to apply this kind of knowledge that you have of sounding engineering to the
Yeah,
didgeridoo. And
yeah, yeah. I was just going to say though. I mean, I do have that sound engineering background, but I think I think it's like with any, if you're making an experienced maker, I don't have any more knowledge in that because I've just because I've got a sound engineering background, that I can apply it to describe certain things. But people who've made lots of sticks, and whether you're into the using the acoustic modelling or the more scientific method, or whether you're more of an instinctive maker like Jesse Lethbridge. I had a conversation with an hour with him, and I was describing terms to him, and he said, "Oh no, he doesn't use those terms." He said it's more instinctive, and then he described another term, and I thought, "Oh yes, yeah." And we it was interesting because he's got, he's like a lot of makers, he's a good maker, and like yourself, you've got a lot of experience of making, haven't you? So
mm,
you've got that, you've got your knowledge that you apply to it, and also the instinctive thing, and I think that's really important, isn't it? To think that I don't, just because I've got a sound engineering thing going on doesn't make me certainly doesn't make me a better didge maker than anyone else. I think there are some great didge makers out there, and I just hope to think that some of mine were quite good. Pretty good sort of ditches I made.
but I think that it will make you more easier to understand some things. Like for me, I want to understand what is like what it does. I was looking for in ay, ¿cómo se dice? Impedancia.
Impedance,
Yeah, how
acoustic,
acoustic impedance.
yeah, acoustic impedance.
It's like want to understand that,
Yeah, well,
and I'm like
it's like resistant,
resist,
impedance.
resist
In electrical theory,
in
it's
electric.
exact. They use AC. They talk about impedance, and also in electrical theory, there's what they call resistance. And impedance in AC waveforms is classed as impedance because there are reactive forces going on. In a sense, with acoustics, I mean, it's a similar thing. You've got a vibrating waveform. You've got a you've got a acoustic waveform,
Mm-hmm.
and
It got frozen. You just
it's
said,
not like DC in electrical theory where resistance. It's oscillating. So it's kind of more akin to that kind of thing, really. And acoustics. I mean, I'm not an acoustics engineer. We studied acoustics at sound engineering college, and I have enough acoustics knowledge of how what's going on inside a ditch, because there's lots of terms used in that, and I looked at that some years ago, and I found it interesting because I like all that sort of stuff, really. Um, so yeah, it's if you look at AC electrical theory and look at impedance there, that might give you also some inkling into impedance, because it's like it's kind of the reactive side of electricity. You
the
know,
only the only thing that I understand about the numbers on Digimo, it's when it's a very low number.
mm,
For me, that I have experienced it, it's gonna be very tough didgeridoo to play it because I don't know if you have seen have played a didgeridoo that you have to push very hard always, so you can keep the back pressure. Because if you lose some a little bit of strength, it will be like.
yeah.
And when the number of impedance is so high, is that like Dubravko didgeridoo, like boom, it's going to explode. That's the only thing. But I want to understand how it's like on books it says impedance is this, but still cannot imagine in my head the picture,
But,
you know.
but do you know? Have you seen simulations of what's going on inside a didgeridoo? You know, like with the because it's a
The wave,
closed.
the
You
wave
have. Yeah, you have. Well, that's something, isn't it? To look at it, to be able to have a visualization is a really helpful thing. And I think there's a video out there, physics video, probably one of the best I've seen, on showing a simulation of a closed pipe with the showing the nodes and anti-nodes and the inverse of the pressure nodes and the inverse, and all those things, and it shows you, and you when you see it, you can see what's going on with with the movement of this longitudinal sound wave inside. It's really interesting, I mean, it's funny for me when I coming back to the making, when I started making, because I'd already got my other stuff in my head, I just
Hmm.
decided to go down the crafting route and use the shapes and listen. And I didn't use any acoustics, and I never have. But I think it's great if if you're doing it and you can use it, that it's a good thing.
Also having a little bit of change in the topic. How do you started to because you have some videos here in YouTube that to microphone this, to microphone that on
Yeah,
didgeridoo. It's not the same. I always say to the music engineers here in Tijuana that I need sometimes I need this in this didgeridoo, this in this microphone, and they are like, No, we can just put this." Yes, but this microphone it won't capture my lows. I
yeah,
only capture the mids and the highs. I need something to capture the lows, and you have to put it. And they are like, I'm a music engineer. I have a diploma.
yeah.
How many times did you have been microphone a didgeridoo? No, no,
Have
no, no, blah, 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 blah. It's
yeah.
not.
So yeah, you struggle with the sound engineer trying to give you the sound, because if you're into multi-drone, you can drop your key right down, can't you? So you're obviously wanting what's the lowest frequency you want to get through the speakers?
I can go down to 33 hertz, and on my E, I can go to 44 hertz.
Right. So
Boom.
assuming the sound system with the big bass spins, they should go quite low. Then yeah, you want to be able to capture the lowest you can, can't you? Really? It's a good idea if you take your own microphones, you can take your own microphone with you and use that. If you've got your own mics, they can't. They should be able to use your microphone, and that's what I do. When I've played live, I just take my own microphones with me.
Now,
Uh,
my limit is that this microphone it's for everything. It's a Mackie
right,
M89 de EM89D, and
so
this is microphone for everything. I bought
right,
this, I bought this because this microphone can capture my didgeridoo in the key of E.
right,
This can go down to 38, no, 39 hertz, 39 hertz and 18k hertz. So I just bought this for, even that my speaker is a Mackie Thumb Go doesn't reproduce, or how to say,
all right. You got a pair of the Mackie Thumps. Yeah, they're not bad speakers. Those
just one,
ones.
just one, just a Mackie Thumb Go, the little one, the battery powered,
Oh, okay.
and this is for everything, just for the podcast, for this, for yeah, for everything. And when I go to the festivals or concerts that they want to me to play, I see like this is awesome microphone, this is awesome, this is like a buffet of microphones, and I was asking for this and this and this
Yeah,
in this in 8 inch, 20 centimeters, 20 centimeters of distance. This will be like this distance and this distance, please. No, 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 no. Okay, let's see. And I don't know, you don't have that problem because you make your own sounding. If I'm not wrong, you do your own sounding, and then when I'm in the performance, the didgeridoo sounds like very like sound like that. And my performance is very crappy because the sounding engineers.
Yeah, with that is the trouble when you're relying on sound engineers. They haven't always mic'd up a dig player. And I mean, I used to, when I was going out with someone, she used to tell me how good the sound was because I used to get it set up with a sound engineer and get it EQ'd from my monitors, fold back monitors. But you can't tell how good it's going to sound at the front. It gives you an idea, but you can't guarantee that what's going to come out of the front PA system is going to be what you're hearing from your monitors. And yeah, it's unfortunate that we are at the mercy of the sound engineer. Some are good, and unfortunately, some are just not so good. And it's a bit annoying because my partner used to say, "Yeah, that was good. That sounded good. No, that wasn't so good." On another thing, you know, you can't change it. Once they, and there was another sound engineer. I he told me actually that people are used to ask to change settings, and he'd say he'd change them, and they'd say, "Oh yeah, that's okay," and then he never changed anything. So it was just kind of like he couldn't be bothered really. It's like, oh well, they just believe they've got it changed, and that's good enough. It's yeah, it is unfortunate that it's nice if you can get a good sound. I mean, I've played some gigs and it's absolutely great because you can hear the sound in your monitors. You can hear the sound out front feels and sounds like it's sounding like it could be good. So and the audience, when the audience really gets involved and loves it, you think you've got a good sound system. That's half the battle because a sound engineer can make you sound good or rubbish. Assuming you're good enough. A sound engineer can either make you sound good. Any good musician can make them sound good or bad. It doesn't matter how good you are. I've heard really good musicians play, and to be honest, I thought, oh my god, it's a terrible sound for that. And what a shame because they're really good musicians. And on the other side of it, I've heard it really good. So yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just
It's
you're lucky or
crazy.
not.
It's very crazy. Ay, güey, se me fue la onda. I had one question. Okay, because I never been in a place like for say I'm the only didgeridoo player full time here in Tijuana. There is no more didgeridoo players. There are some dudes that have been bought me didgeridoos, but they just for fun, just like someone grabs a guitar. Like me, I have my guitar, I play some
Yeah,
chords, and that's it. Those guys are like that. Some drones, and that's it. Never been the loudest didgeridoo that I have heard is just my performance with the monkey thumb. How is in a big place with a big PA system,
yeah,
good sounding system? How is that experience? And I ask
yeah.
because never been in one
Right.
situation like that.
Well, it can be good. It can be really good. And usually, if on a bigger setup, usually they've got the better engineers to get the sound nice because I've played on a few fairly big setups, and you've got the monitors. I think on one stage I had sometimes they're at the front in front of you, and other times I've had them at the side. And when it's sounding good, it does sound good and it feels good because you can feel the sound. You can hear the sounds nice. You think that's good. You've got if you want reverb, that's coming through. They've sorted the feedback out. So that's sorted out. And then and then you're uplifted with your own playing, because the sound you're getting, you know what it's like when you play through your system and you're getting a nice sound. It's really, it uplifts you, doesn't it? Because you can get the harmonic, all the tones you want crisp, where you can't do it acoustic. You know, a lot of people think, oh, they just want to hear the didgeridoo acoustic without any sound system, but it depends where you're playing. If you're in a venue, you can't get the volume, nor can you get the crispness of those upper harmonics, you know, which really make the didgeridoo sing, don't they?
Mhm.
You know, they're an important part of it, and people then are like, oh, they never knew that existed in a didgeridoo. so yeah, it sounds really, when it's done well, and when you on a bigger systems, I would say they're normally pretty good. Again, not always, but some, you know.
You said something that I was imagining, but you just confirm it. It not only sounds good, it feels
Yeah, the feeling.
the
Yeah, the
feeling.
feeling.
How can I explain that? The sound of the didgeridoo, it's like, mm, it's not like other instruments. Even that the sound, it's kind, it ay, pues su chingada madre. It's, ay, way, my English is betraying me. Um, is that didgeridoo has so many sounds, well, so many sound waves that
Yeah,
it makes it very dense sound. Dense. It doesn't only comes to the ears, to the full. It, it comes to the full body
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
with big speakers. Damn.
yeah, and that's the thing. That's what's so great. And I think when there's a live audience, they really, really enjoy it when you've got a really good setup, because when you get that feeling back through your system, your body and your ears and everything. And when I mean, I tend to find I've played my best when I completely lose myself in my playing. I know what I'm doing, I'm aware, I'm conscious, but I also lose myself. And you kind of like, you're then completely just connected with what you're doing, and the audience. It's a nice feeling. And yeah, it, like you said, it's a deep, rich sound you get, complex. It's a very simple instrument in a sense, but in another way, the complexities of its overtones or harmonics, or and the from low end to high end frequencies, and what you can do. And people are absolutely surprised, I think, really, when they hear a good didge player, and that lovely rich sound through it. It is not, yeah, it's good playing through a good system, I think. I've always enjoyed it anyway.
This is the reason that, well, I spoke with Markusen, with Mr. Markusen, and some other dudes that say that they don't play so good. They play very basic. And I have seen some videos when over there in Europe, the didgeridoo is just like 2 hours later, 3 hours later.
Yeah,
But I just realized right now, but the PA system is huge, and
yeah,
they're playing with the drums or some with percussions.
yeah,
I didn't catch that. People is not only listening to the music, to the didgeridoo, they are also feeling the beat.
yeah.
The
Feeling it.
the experience, it's way fucking different.
And isn't that the thing of music? It's about feeling. It's all about feeling, isn't it? You know, we listen, but we feel. When you listen to a sound system, you do hear it and feel it in your, you know, sort of hearing and feeling there, but also you feel it in your body, particularly low end. The low end goes in your body, but it is a whole feeling thing, isn't it, really? And that's why I got hooked on it in the first place. As soon as I started playing, it's like, whoa, this is like a drug. I'm gonna have some more of this. You know? I was
Yeah.
hooked, literally, and it's because of the feeling. It's an amazing thing. I love. See, I like what you do. I like the dancey stuff you do. That's what I really love. I've always had a love of dance music, and I want to do a bit. I haven't done any proper recordings for a while, but that side of it for me, I really enjoy. You know, I do like that dance. It's in my blood. The dance feeling thing. You know, it's just me really. I love it.
And I was in the past month. I was like, what the fuck is happened? With my busking? Like I'm busking like I'm more skilled on the DJ thing in the didgeridoo playing, but I'm doing less and less tips. But like I said, just right now, I realize I put my speaker, boom,
Yeah,
full volume. I
yeah.
put my DJ gear to the full volume, and yes, I do some EQs on the mix. But I just realized that's not good. I have to be more moderate on the volume, so it
Right.
can sound very good, but
Yeah.
not so loud.
Right. I see. Yeah. Does that work? And does that work more better? Have you got that like? Does that
No,
work?
I just realized that right now with
Oh.
your with this chat because uh, my wife always told me weeks ago that sometimes it's like su puta madre, bájale a tu chingadera. Turn off the fucking volume. Oh shit.
All right. So it's just a quality thing then, isn't it? Really, getting the right volume and getting the quality at the same time. It's um, and also depending what I don't know much about that microphone. Um, does that work well? Is that a nice microphone for your playing? I'd have to when you listen when I'm doing listening, obviously listen to it on my system to test out the sound, and it's easy for me to hear.
Mm.
And I don't know how good that mic is, but if it's a good enough mic, then you should be able to get a really nice sound from your system if you've EQ'd it right, you know, and get the. I mean, microphones. I think a lot of people can just plonk a mic down and get a reasonably okay, goodish recording. But there's a bit of a difference between doing that and then getting when. I think when you're playing live, it's a bit different anyway. You know, it's not like in a studio recording where you're trying to get a professional recording. It's different, but it should be. Hopefully, if your mic's good enough, you know, you should be able to get a good sound. And maybe, as you say, maybe it's just the loudness thing.
The
Which,
loudness, it's sometimes it I I always play with one ear to listen the mix and one ear to listen the speaker. I always have the speaker on this side, and sometimes it's like I wait, less volume, less volume. Okay, yeah, let's keep doing. It's so crazy, it's so crazy, and and over there in UK,
yeah.
uh, you never busk.
Yeah, I've busked. Yeah. It's funny with busk. It's a funny thing with me with busk. I haven't done anything for a long time in busking now, but I have done busking at various times, and I've had sometimes success, sometimes peanuts. You know, sometimes it's been nothing, sometimes it's successful. I've tried it with a speaker system, and I've tried it acoustically without. And it just has varied, you know. I have found myself pushing myself when I've been playing, just trying, you know, if I haven't got any PA. I think that's the beauty of having a little PA. You haven't got to like really push it to get the volume out there. Whereas if you've got PA, you can just turn that up as much as you want, and you haven't got to. You can relax a bit more. I think that's what I found with the busking, and then you can do your rhythms and things. And but yeah, I wouldn't say. Um, I enjoyed busking sometimes. Sometimes I just needed a bit of money and a bit of pocket money, and at other times I just gave it a go for practice as well. You know, I could go out on the streets and practice my rhythms and think, well, I can earn some money while I'm practicing. You know, at the same time, that was a. I like playing in. I used to like playing in like places where they got some reverb. I play in a tunnel in
Awesome.
Truro sometimes. Lovely reverb. Ah. fantastic. I
Yes,
don't need a PA system, and it just amplifies in that tunnel. And I
right.
like playing in
So,
caves. But I
yes.
don't.
How is England with buskers?
Yeah, they're okay. They're okay with buskers. I think in London you need permits. I've never busked in London.
But it's worth it, I think.
Yeah, but generally, as far as I'm aware, certainly down where I'm in Cornwall, I used to live in Brighton. I don't know what it's like there now. So I think you can busk there. I'm sure you can busk there. It's a very cosmopolitan place, Brighton is. But I live in Cornwall, and I haven't found any problems down here. I've busked in a few different places, and never had any problems really. No, it seems okay.
Also, the how it's the UK or the just the England. That's just the island community. Didgeridoo community over there.
Yeah, it's a good community. I mean, there's a couple of festivals. The one I haven't been to. I haven't managed to yet to get to the elementary sticks. That's sort of one of the bigger ones these days. And there's Pete's singing sticks. He does his didgeridoo festival. I used to go to the gatherings and the Didge festivals before those times, was ran by Ant Scott, who was a good Didge maker as well. And I really enjoyed those and saw some of the European players come over, and really enjoyed watching them, because that was before, back then, that was before I was playing live or doing. I know I was like learning and kind of getting into it, sort of. It was too early for me to do that then, but I've enjoyed going to these places. Yeah, and I'd say it's a pretty good community, between all the different people that visit these festivals. They all love it and, enjoy the same thing, really.
So awesome, so awesome. That's just the last questions. If you have a perfect didgeridoo for you, how it will be? That's perfect one.
Right. Okay, that's quite easy to answer that one. When I was looking for the perfect didgeridoo many, many years ago,
Huh.
I thought I was looking for something in particular, but since time has gone past, I realised that there isn't one perfect didgeridoo. There's many different didgeridoos I like. So I couldn't say there's a perfect didge or perfect stick, because I can describe it in these terms. Actually, I've got sticks that I've bought, imported from years ago. I've got traditional sticks I really love, and I've got sticks of my own making, of course. And there's two of my own sticks I'd say are favourites. There's two of them. One is a large, I suppose it's about a 5-foot conical stick. It's the driving stick I use. That's how I describe it. It's a real driver, and it toots well. It could be played as trad if you wanted to. So that, for me, is what I love about that stick. But I've got another stick, which is, it's more, I mean, I don't make them as trad sticks, so I wouldn't make it as a Mago stick or anything. But the other one's much more like a Mago stick. It's about a 4-footer. It's wonderful, rich singing harmonics, which the bigger one doesn't. But the bigger one's got a different set of things going for it. This energy that the smaller one doesn't. So those two sticks I really like, and I also, you see, it's an interesting question that you've asked, because one of the very early sticks I bought, and that was bought from Australia, there was a bit of eucalyptus. Was a stick that probably not many people would design. It had a shape of, I don't know if I can show on the screen here, instead of being like conical or more cylindrical like a Mago stick, it had like from the top it went sort of like out like that, so it had a larger top, and then it came in narrow, and then it went down narrow all the way to the bottom with only the slightest taper, and that was a key of B, and that was a lovely stick. But I doubt many people would look at that and think, well, that's going to be a good stick. I should think, I would imagine a lot of people think, that's not necessarily going to be that great, but it was really nice. That was a key of B, and that was on my first album. That was on my first That was on my first album, Out the Back, and I really loved that. And I did actually make another stick like that, and that was again the same shape. What you get with that shape at the top, you get a voice box, because if you've got a conical stick, you don't get the voice box at the top. You still get voicing inside, but with this shape, with the big end at the top, of course it's low back pressure in the top piece, and then it squeezes in there, so you get a much tighter bit of pressure there, and then it comes out very slight. You get this wonderful voice box that you don't get with sticks that are just made tight at the top all the way down. And I really like that style as well. So there are like not really. I wouldn't say it's like a perfect stick. There's too many variations I like, you know, in that sense. So I don't know. Yeah, does that answer the question?
Yes, it's different for every single player.
What about for you? What's your
I have it in measurements. Mr. Frank made that didgeridoo on his
Frank Geipel?
Frank Geipel, Mr. Frank Geipel. It's a Phrygian fifth dominant. Phrygian fifth dominant. I don't know if you like rock. The band Tool, the song of 49 and 2.
Tool. I haven't heard of them.
The scale is a scale. It's like kind of Egyptian, kind of Middle East.
I know. Yeah.
Scale on the didgeridoo.
Right.
That's my favorite scale, and Dr. Gapel was able to make the measurements for that didgeridoo, and hopefully, like over here, the dumbass people doesn't know what I want, because I go with the measurements and I show them the videos of the didgeridoo CNC making from Europe, and they say, no, I don't know how to do this. And there are like 6 CNC workshops here. No one knew what I wanted, so I have to do it by hand, and it's gonna be a very rough job, because the bell section, it's a long section and it's a wide section. It's 13, I think it is 13 centimeters, and then it's like woo 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 woo. Then I have to respect every single millimeter. If I get more wood than it will, the whole scale is gonna messed up.
And that's the thing, isn't it? That's the other thing. Is I used to discuss this with Ant Scott, the other didge maker that used to live in Devon. The subtle difference, the changes you make, small minute changes you make, can make quite a difference to the sound. Yeah, it's quite interesting, really.
Yes, and also we have to keep in mind that also what you're gonna use to seal the interior, you have to put it on the measurement to rest, or a sumar o restar milímetros. I have to say that. Like I have a Mexican brand epoxy and US brand epoxy.
Yeah.
If I use the US epoxy, it will be thicker, like like 2 nails from
Right.
the.
Yeah.
But if I use the Mexican brand, it will be just 1 nail, but it was going to be hard as plastic, hard.
Yeah.
And the US brand is not so hard. It is like flexible, but still still good. So we have to keep in mind on the measurements, plus the epoxy or polyurethane or whatever material you want to use. We have to, no?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I with you're mentioning about sealing the inside. I mean, for me, when I made my wood didges, I'd rather not seal it because it changes the sound of it. It alters it. So, unfortunately, for most didge makers, and including if you're selling, you can't you can't just not seal it because it would mousse too much, doesn't it? But it's mainly my preference. I mean, mainly my preference is not to seal it because I prefer the sound without the hard reflexive surface makes it brighter, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yes,
changes.
and it will be like a very messy if it doesn't seal it, or finding something like very
Oil.
not.
You can use oil. You can use oil. It's a compromise. Oil is a compromise in a way because it's like I used to use. I think I used to use almond oil, which is very very light. So it doesn't. It doesn't. It's not. I would never use linseed oil on the inside because that can dry hard. That can dry hard, and it's quite a honky thing as well. So on the outside it's nice, but not for me. In the inside, some people use it and that's fine with it, but for me, I just use a very light, I think, almond oil, and otherwise I'd seal it. You know, if it was going to be sold, it'd have to be sealed because I couldn't take the chance and not leave it sealed. But I did prefer it unsealed. A lot of the sticks I made.
You didn't have problem with the saliva in fungus in that with the oil.
No, never. No,
So
no, no, not with the almond. Not with the almond oil. The almond oil was also had vitamin E mixed in it to help to make it last longer. And
mhm.
it's such a thin coating that you can recoat it again, within about 6 months or something, and it dries. There's only the slight. Well, it really only leaves the slightest coating on it. Really, it's not thick. It's nothing like. I think some people use tongue oil. I couldn't use that because it's like, oh, do my throat in that stuff. It's really good thick oil.
Yeah,
It's really good thick oil. Probably for the outside if I was going to use it, but for the inside, I know the other didge maker as well. He said he didn't like tongue oil because it just gets down your throat. But some people use it and they seem fine with it. But I just use a light oil or nothing if possible.
just for the last, where or you have a website, or you have a Bandcamp or
Yeah.
SoundCloud, Spotify, so we can find your music.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a website called just www.johnthorpedidge.com. It's just my name with Didge on the end of it, so that's
Mhm.
johnthorpedidge.com. I've got a Bandcamp site which is whatever the Bandcamp address is with John Thorpe Didge on it again under Bandcamp. It's John Thorpe Didge, and I have got a Facebook page, but I'm sure you could probably get to it from my website or something. I should think,
Okay. We can find your web page, and then we can find everything about your music over there.
Yeah. I've got some albums that I've done over the years. So yeah, if people want to check them out, then great. Yeah.
Yes, we're gonna check that your music in that web page. Thank you very much, Mr. John Thorpe. It was a pleasure and awesome chatting with you. Last words for the didgeridoo. At first, it was for the didgeridoo Latin American community, but I'm receiving views from around the world, so let's keep it for around the world. Last words.
Great. Well, I'd just like to say thanks for inviting me onto your show. I've enjoyed watching quite a few of your podcasts, and I've enjoyed watching the interviews. It's been great. I think the last one, I can't remember which one, the last one you've done, but I think I saw one. I think one of the last ones was with Stephen Kent, and that was interesting. I've seen lots of them. So yeah, it's all good. I'm enjoying it. It's great. Thank you.
Awesome. Jonathan Antonio, Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, and John Thorpe from
UK, Cornwall, UK.
Colbo, UK. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Wrong button.